This episode of Dakota Destinations is presented by Vern Eide Motoplex.
Got it. Yep. That is a beauty. Look at that one. Wow. Welcome to Dakota Destinations. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. Tonight is our season debut, season 2 of Dakota Destinations. We're excited about you meeting a number of personalities with strong ties to the outdoors. We'll also take you places you may have visited, others you may have never heard of before. And we're excited about our new sponsor this year, Vern Eide Motoplex in Sioux Falls. On tonight's show, we'll introduce you to Mark Bry. His growth in fishing mirrors the demand for fishing on Devil's Lake. And when you think of National Windsurfing Championships, what do you think of? Hawaii, California? How about Worthington, Minnesota? Believe it or not. Let's hit our first destination.
We're gonna fish this shallow bay here.
Yeah.
There's a creek I'm gonna go fish with you, and then we're gonna go fish ourselves in another shallow bay and work our way back. In reality, the best thing ever happened out here was this lake went up.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there's probably a couple of farmers that would disagree with me, but overall, for the economy and for just what's going on, I mean, great duck hunting. I mean, the guy from Missouri wants to come back in the fall and go duck hunting.
You won't hear Mark Bry talk too much about the bite on Devil's Lake. He believes it can be the kiss of death. He just goes fishing, and usually the fishing takes care of itself. Devil's Lake, Bry says, is good enough that you'll find that pocket.
Another walleye.
You'll find the bite.
Frying pan walleye, I think, Dan.
How about that, Mark? You're on them.
Nice one, actually.
Oh, yeah. Nice fish.
Yeah, pretty
That is
fish.
a very nice fish.
Yeah, that one just pounded it too. Up in like 3 feet of water there.
How about that?
Yeah, nice fish.
So, a lot of times it's intuition, other decisions based on prior knowledge, but I mean, you had a feeling about this area back here.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking
What was
at,
it about it today that you had a feeling about this
you
area?
know, maybe the camera can check the water out and can read that, but it's not clear.
Yeah.
It's stained a little bit. There's a little bit of a wind coming in here. The water temps in the 60s. Those are all variables that equal that.
Yeah.
You know, clear water doesn't work as well.
Nice fish.
Stained water. There's some bugs in there. There's some shrimp floating around. There's life in there. That's why these are in there.
Like a lot of youngsters growing up in Grand Forks, Mark Bry had two major boyhood hobbies, hockey and fishing. He was a gifted defenseman for Red River High School in the late 90s, leading the Rough Riders to back-to-back state championships. In 1997, Bry was named Mr. Hockey, the best prep player in the state. And in the summer, Bry and his parents spent time at the Creel Bay Campground on Devil's Lake, where his love of fishing was spawned.
Yeah, I just have really vague memories. I mean, I remember like mom making breakfast in the morning and dad, you know, walk me down on his shoulders kind of thing. I was pretty young. My dad fished a lot, and we were all over the place fishing between here or Lake of the Woods or Skakawea on the western part of the state, but there weren't many weekends we weren't fishing somewhere. Might be a walleye. I can't guarantee that, but yeah, I think it's a walleye.
Think it's a walleye? Another new area in here, Mark, huh? This is a little slice of heaven back in here.
I like it a lot. Oh, geez, I got a really nice fish on here. There she comes. That is a nice fish. Wow.
Nice fish.
That's beautiful. That is a dandy, huh? And that's just a really nice fish. You know, it's 5 pounds, maybe 6 pounds. Beautiful. Nice golden, beautiful fish. 4 feet of water.
How about that?
It doesn't get any better.
Back in 2003, while attending UND, Mark embarked on his first guide trip.
I had 3 gals in the boat that had never fished in their life, and went to Pelican Lake and the northwest corner of Devil's Lake, and the pike were definitely cooperating. We got some walleyes too, I remember that, but I was like, yeah, I can do this if I can handle that. These gals had a good time, and I guess it just kind of went from there, and I was just doing it by myself and maybe going, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and then every year's gotten a little busier.
His guide service these days is in high demand. Just east of Devil's Lake, Bry recently opened the Fish Rehab Lodge, a lodge where his fishing friends, clients, if you will, can relax after a day on the water. Their home away from home.
I didn't really have anyone to show me the ropes or anything that way. I kind of just learned it on my own. And
Self-taught?
yeah, and I kind of liked that it was that way. There's a lot of days I had to struggle to figure things out, but I think it's made me a better fisherman and maybe a better business person too because of it.
Oh, that's a hefty bass.
Oh my goodness.
Holy moly, that's a chunker.
That's 3 pounds.
Jeez.
We're talking 3-pound bass.
Yeah,
That's
without
it.
a doubt.
Wow, damn, that's a really nice fish.
That is a nice fish.
It's a trophy bass.
The
Yeah.
true east end of
You
Devil's
cannot
Lake.
go any farther. This is about as far as she goes. Yeah, this road back here has been built up many times, and I mean, I'm guessing, probably 8 years ago, they made a huge move to keep that road from flooding over, and last year they were working all summer to keep that thing from flooding over. But Devil's Lake is a monstrous lake. I mean, I've heard that over 300,000 acres of lake, if you consider all of the lakes up in the northwest corner, down through Stump Lake.
As we roamed the shallow bays and points of Devil's Lake, we enjoyed the open water version of the hat trick. Walleyes, northern pike, and white bass, which may not be an angler's top pick for table fare, but can offer up non-stop fighting action.
That's fun. That's what it's all about.
It is
having
fun. It's a blast.
And there's days you get in the right school of them, Dan, where they might be 3-pounders.
Yeah.
These are probably 1.5 pounds, but
Well, we're in a school of them right now because literally it's every cast.
oh, that is a foot.
Look at that one. That's
Hi.
got to be about 3 pounds.
Yeah, he's pushing it. That's
Pushing
a really nice
3
fish.
pounds, I'd say.
Really nice fish. I do like challenges in life. I mean, I know that sometimes challenges can be overwhelming, and sometimes you have people in the boat that have never fished their entire life.
Yeah.
And that can be a challenge at times to put fish in the box or whatever. But I do like it. I really enjoy everything being a little different every day and going after it. And like I said, when you have people come in from the day and tell you that was the best day they've ever had fishing, and they're all smiles, I mean, it's very, very rewarding as well. Nice one.
Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by Vern Idy Motoplex. Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by Vern Idy Motoplex.
Welcome back to Dakota Destinations. Several months after we joined Mark Bry on the open waters of Devil's Lake,
just in
we
time.
reconnected with him on a cold winter morning. The temperatures are well below zero as we load the Snow Bear, a track vehicle that affords the comforts of fishing inside, away from the elements, while providing the portability needed to cover the many acres we're about to attack. Destination, Stump Lake, just east of Devil's Lake in Nelson County. Stump, like Devil's Lake, has risen dramatically over the years, as much as 50 feet. It covers more than 15,700 acres and has more than 90 miles of shoreline. It's a closed lake with no input or output of rivers or streams. Our target,
Thousands at times.
jumbo
Because that
perch,
is a special
the
fish
most
that
sought
they do not
after
grow
fish
like
by anglers during the ice fishing season, Whether
Nice
it's Stump Lake,
Yeah.
Devil's Lake, or pretty much anywhere in the Midwest.
The thing is, you gotta get fish to come in. We haven't had a lot of fish come in yet. Once they come in, if you're jigging aggressive and they go right away, that tells you something. So you want to get a feel from it. The biggest thing we try to do is to get them to come to us, and then usually once they come to us, we slow it down. Once they come in, because perch are very curious, they want to see what's going on. You can call them in. You want to bring them in right below you, and then usually hit the brakes. Maybe shake it a little bit, raise it just a little bit, and wait for that thump. A lot of times we just watch our rod tip as well. And there's days they just pound it, you don't even mark them, but more days than not, you got to kind of finesse them a little bit and get that flurry going. And once you can get a few fish built up down there and they can kind of get that flurry going, then those fish, they start just pounding it because there's competition. They want to get going.
Perch. Oh, perch.
That's a dandy perch.
Yep.
Nice. That'll eat.
Breaks the ice.
Good job, Dan. Another one of those.
No. No.
He hit pretty hard for you?
Yeah, I did.
There are lots of places for the perch to hide here on Stump Lake. Lots of structure, many acres to cover. The snow bear experience will make pretty much anyone an ice fisherman.
You know, if you're fishing in a portable house or a permanent house, you come here, you set up, you're not getting onto fish yet, it's really hard to move. More than likely, you're not going to move. It's like 20 below right now. For us, all we have to do is reel up our lines, pull up our sleeves, we're gone. So mobility is just really, really, really simple. It's convenient. And you know, there's a lot of times you need to cover water and fish can move around and the bite can change a little bit from day to day. So snow bear is very, very, very convenient for moving.
It's mid-afternoon and we've made a move. We fished hard earlier this morning on a different section of the Devil's Lake, Stump Lake watershed, and the perch bite was tough. We put a lot of time, hit a lot of spots, just one of those days, so we've moved to a different section of lake now. Now mid-afternoon, we're gonna start focusing in on a point here.
That's one of those areas where it's just kind of a timing thing. They tend to come in around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and they can go right till dark. So we'll hold out for them and we'll make some small moves here, but we're gonna definitely hang out in this point the rest of the night.
Got him anyway.
Nice perch.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Nice one, a little bigger.
So Dan, what is the secret to catching fish in Devil's Lake? I think we're gonna start taking some pointers
He
from you, Dan.
swallowed it pretty good too.
That's a good sign.
There's our mark.
Bet, Dan. Oh, there's more down there too.
Nice job. Nice job.
That'll work.
Hey, hey. The bite is going now.
This is the exact same place we were 2 nights ago, and we're just on a point here where it kind of drops down, and I think they're making their move in.
Nice.
Attaboy, Dan.
I don't know how my drag got set so light.
Might be the real deal.
Well, nice perch.
That's a nice perch.
That's the
That's a nice perch right there.
Nice one.
Huh?
That's a football. That's what people come for right there, because that is a special fish. They do not grow them like that just anywhere.
Our next destination, Worthington, Minnesota, where they celebrate wind and water.
Lift out of that clear water. Oh, is that a beaut? Crankbait. Oh, how about that?
Look at that fish.
The crank.
Wow! I'm Corey Heiser.
And I'm Troy Morris.
We're here with Artificial Eyes to give you some tips on how to store your soft plastics.
What we like to use in our boats is we like to use a storage system that has a gasket on each one of our Plano boxes, and we also like to label these boxes so that we know what we have. With this gasket, what that does is it locks in those scents. It doesn't allow other scents to get into those plastics after time.
I don't want his plastics to smell like my plastics, so we do. We keep them all separate and organize them by shape, size, and by the scent.
Yeah, and they make these really cool liquid containers that also your gulp can be stored in these things very efficiently. And they don't spill on you. Don't spill in Corey's boat anyway.
It is a benefit to not get my boat all stinky. Like us, you're using more artificial baits. We've used this storage system and it works. When you're organizing, don't forget the 3 S's: scent, shape, and size.
Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by Vern Eide Motoplex.
Welcome back to Dakota Destinations. A few windsurfing enthusiasts in Worthington, Minnesota had a big dream one day. and they've turned that dream into reality. Here's David Brown.
Lake Okabena. In Sioux language, the name translates to home of the heron, which is strange considering the heron is predominantly a coastal bird. But this lake also offers another thing that's predominantly coastal: copious amounts of wind.
My name is Bill Keitel. I'm from Worthington, Minnesota. I live on Lake Okabena, the windiest lake in the nation. I'm Vice President of the United States Windsurfing Association, and I've always been interested in event development. And I realize that nobody promotes the wind around here, and it's something that sailors use throughout the United States and throughout the world.
When the idea was put into a few people's heads in the community, I was the chair of the Convention and Visitors Bureau at that point, and we were approached by a few local folks that had been windsurfing on our lake, bragging to their friends about the good wind and everything, and their friends would come in and they'd enjoy the weekend, and then they thought, hey, you know, we should do this, and they approached the Convention and Visitors Bureau about some seed money to try to get something going, and 15 years later, here we are.
Since the late 1990s, Worthington has used its location and its lake to put on what the city calls an annual windsurfing regatta and unvarnished music festival. Unvarnished being the operative word, of course. Like the wind, the music every year is natural.
And then we have the live music. Every night we have free live music. It's called the Unvarnished Music Festival. We gear our music towards the acoustic, not necessarily top 40 or what you're hearing on the radios right now. It's free and open. You come and bring your lawn chair, blankets, whatever you want.
Whether it's music, art, or windsurfing, the event has become a phenomenon. Driven by the wind, sailors and surfers from all over the world have descended on this small town to experience all that nature has to offer. Lake Okabena's even been selected to host 3 national windsurfing championships in the past 11 years.
Worthington is the only, Lake Okabena is the only inland lake where they're willing to hold the national championships. It's a small lake. It's an awful lot like the Daytona 500, you know, or the Brickyard. So often windsurfers, when they go sailing and racing, they're 2 or 3 miles out on the ocean. And the only way you film them is with helicopters. And the attraction that they have here is they can bring it to the public, and the public can actually see what's going on. And that's kind of exciting for me. It's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah, it's always been an enjoyable event. It's great to have spectators. Any other event I've ever done, there's no spectators, so it's great to have people watch.
It's really exciting for us because we work on this year-round, and we do go to different events throughout the nation and even outside of the United States. Worthington is known, unbeknownst to the Midwestern people that aren't sailors, this lake was originally, back at the turn of the century, was known for one of the best ice boating lakes in the Midwest. And all of a sudden here, 120 years later, we're rekindling that interest with windsurfing.
The way it works is that hours before a race, organizers look for whitecaps out on the water. Those distinguished waves give an idea of how the course will be laid out.
They've set a course. They have upwind and downwind marks, buoys, and there's a couple of different classes of sailors. There's different categories, and they each have a given course out there. When the wind blows, these things utilize the wind in the most efficient fashion, which means they can go fast. And it's like a rocket sled on the water.
Worthington is located in Nobles County, which itself has been rocketing up the nation's leaders in wind-powered energy. But the reason why this small area benefits so much from nature has to do with nature itself.
It's this funny little thing called the Buffalo Ridge over by Laverne. It's the last step off of the Black Hills. And so the wind comes rolling out of the Rockies and through the Black Hills. Then they hit the Buffalo Ridge and gets that last little push, and it comes barreling right across our county and through our lake right here. That's what makes it windy.
Windsurfers don't do a lot of polluting. They go sailing on the, with the wind. One wind generator approximately supplies 250 homes. It's a power needs for the entire year. In Nobles County alone, there's 167 wind generators. And throughout this vast region, all these wind generators are basically a testament to our claim as the windiest lake in the nation.
They always they order the wind ahead of time, so we know we'll have it.
Windsurfers are a pretty unique breed. Still considered by most a niche sport, windsurfing's actually been an Olympic event since 1984. but what makes the sport so appealing is its accessibility.
The demographic tends to be 40 to 65. On the coasts and in Maui and places like that and throughout the world, it's a much younger culture. It just depends on who says. But we have a few younger sailors here too, and there's some, I know we've had some 6 and 7-year-olds. They're not out on the race course, but I bet you by the time they're 12 years old, we've had some on the race course.
You know, I grew up sailing boats, and it was just a natural progression from there because I love being on the water, powered by the wind and nature, and windsurfing is just much more high performance. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so once we get a lot of wind and get planing very fast, it's just a lot of fun.
So whether you're an adrenaline junkie or just a spectator enjoying the sights and sounds on a sunny day, Worthington makes windsurfing a breeze.
A lot of times we'll go out on the ocean and we disappear and we're dots on the horizon and nobody knows we're even there anymore. And so we can really do this event and be part of the community, and everybody can, it may be hard to follow at times, but it's still fun to watch.
It's a neat culture that they enjoy the companionship. And the fact that Worthington combines a music festival and a sailing regatta in one fell swoop is real important, because the sailors actually have something to do. Normally what happens, sailors are just a nuisance in big cities, and in Worthington we really invite them here, and we treat them like exalted rulers of the universe.
Coming up next week, destination Theodore Roosevelt National Park with an accomplished North Dakota-based wildlife photographer. And we'll update you on 2 fishermen on the Walleye Pro Tour with artificial baits only.